Hello. Hi. This demo is for showing how there is an intention with my engine to fetch messages using a form or using an ASP web page. Even though the whole spirit behind the design of EMS framework is mostly asynchronous messaging, but if there is a requirement like you want to get the messages using the front end of .NET, like web form or even ASP page, you can do that too. Even though there are certain reservations and questions why you would want to do that. When the message is meant for creating reports or doing anything that's background processing, can be done STP way, straight through processing way, rather than manually pressing the buttons to get the message and see the message yourself, or see the report created from the message, or whatever that message is required to do. So anyway, after having expressed my reservations and have been able to create a form which does that's been asked for. So Subhajit created a small template for me for form, which I then used as a base for getting the messages of the EMS. Now there has been a lot of changes done in that code which Subhajit sent me, and so this is the form and this is the consumer, and this is the class which brings both these two together. Kind of a mediation class or a containing class. So there could be another design pattern where form contains the consumer or consumer contains the form, but that would have been slightly a mixed up form of doing the things, or some hybrid pattern which we do not want. So we simply want that these two classes should sit independently and should be processed by a third class, which then also provides the entry point into the application. So here it is the main class, display form or message and form, and it has form and it has got consumer. So since it has to be displayed on a form by a press of a button, so it has to be a synchronous consumer. So how it all works is that you have a button on the form, and when you press the button, you internally within the EMS and the button create a consumer which then fetches off the message if there is any, and then displays it on the text field. So that's pretty much it. And the most important thing that needs to be mentioned here also is that there is a message or event delegation that's done from consumer to the this class, main class, which in turn forwarded to the form. So there is a event handler which raises the event on the receipt of the message. That event obviously contains the message, and that event handler then which raises the message is consumed by event handler in this main class, and then which passes on that message to the function, which then inserts the text of the message into the text box. So here's it. So the whole So that was a minor hiccup in which your design time was saying that one of the variables, this one, was not assigned, but we ignored it, and we can see the design time display of this form. So this is a button which will have its own label, and it will be labeled by the current thread, and then this is the text box which will display the message. So this is the form, and then this is the consumer. And since it has to be done on demand, so there has been a synchronous consumer created, and which is this one. It simply takes a queue name and the number of sessions and a flag whether we want to keep it live or for consuming the first message, or you want to go away. So that's another parameter to decide whether it's infinitely consuming messages or not. So this is your constructor, and this is a static constructor which I thought of writing for another different scenario for stopping the connection in case there is no button, and then if you want to fetch it directly into the text box without pressing the button, or if there is no button, then you have to first stop the connection so that the form and the text box, they are initialized properly before the flowing of messages can continue. Okay, but that it's not required. It's happening on demand as and when user wants. So I'm not using this connection stop. And then this is the most important part, which has been overridden, and it is coming basically from the DLL or from the framework, and it has to be overridden. And then since it will be executed in multiple threads at the same time, and here we are, just for demonstration purpose, we are trying to insert into a text box. So there will be multiple threads writing into the text box, so it has to be locked. This code has to be locked, where it is raising the event to the event handler, which is in your mediation class or in your display and form method class. Okay, and so that's the this is the function, or this is the method which will be ultimately be responsible for receiving and processing the message. So and then we have your entry point of the application, which is in the class display message and form, and it is this one. So here we are just setting the name for the main thread so that we can keep a track of it later for debugging purposes. And here we are creating the form in a separate thread. Why? Because if you do it in the main thread, it holds up that main thread and it doesn't let the processing to continue. So since it's a UI without user interaction, without the user filling the form, closing the form, okay, so it will be using up the main thread. The main thread will be blocked as long as the form is there. So what we did was we created a separate thread and initialized that form, created and initialized and started that form in a separate thread, so that main thread can continue for creation of consumers, which in turn will be running in their own separate threads. So here we have started it, and then main thread of course continues from where it left. Right. So that's the whole thing, and here we have the message receiver or received event handler, which simply takes out the message from the event message event arguments and puts it into the form's text box. So that's the whole idea behind it. So it's kind of a special scenario where we have to create separate threads, and we have to rely on event delegation model to send from one class to another the message. and so that the receiving class is able to use that message for the purpose it's designed for. So there might be some other way of doing it, but that's the most natural way, I would say, or the method which I could jump on, or which I could see working in the first instance. So now that you know the requirements probably, and if you have a real-time requirement of fetching the messages off the form, you can think of another pattern, another method which may be more efficient. But this is the one this is the one where we have to create the event dedication model also. And mind you, we have also been required to update the framework library with the addition of a message handler, which is this one. So this message handler would be used as and when there is a requirement of fetching of forms if you are using the current pattern. So it's already commented that this is to modify the arrival message to the front end that starts the sync consuming fetch working message. Now, of course, the front end would be starting that sync consumer by the press of a button. And if you see so here the communication is requested, and then of course it's disabled, and then a new consumer is created with number of sessions as 1, because only for demonstration purpose you can put 3, you can put 4 here, but to keep the thing simple for now it has been 1, where a single click creates a 1 consumer which fetches any message that's lying on the server and displays it on the Xbox. And here you have the assignment of the consumer's message handler to the main class's function. So here you are able to get that thing where you are able to send the messages to the consumer class. It's kind of, I would say, the event notification is somewhat like bypassing the access modifiers, the access restrictions, even though the events, sending and receiving of events also would be done in the same thread, but the design time, public access and private access, I think they are modified. So this event delegation model came to my mind of a similar design pattern which I have and which we have in typical business works, where notification is sent across the processes and for the waiting processes, and the correlation is also done using the subdivision requirement of correlation also. But here, of course, there is no internal correlation requirement. So simple event delegation methods came to my mind, and I saw the .NET documentation, and that was the simplest event delegation model which I can use here, and then serve as well. So any questions about this at the moment?
I just wanted to know that what is the starting point on this form, and what do I do for SSL connection?
Yeah, I will come to exporting a little later. At the moment, we are just only using the TCP-based connection. If you see this here, it's a use library. So here we have set the protocol as TCP, and what is it? Yeah, this is the one. So, and then. And one thing you have to make sure is, if you have to make SSL, then you have to go, of course, do this, and then make sure that the connection factory which you are going to create also support as well. result. So now this is, even though it's securely codable, but this is not an SSL connection factory, as you would see somewhere here in the factories.conf probably. So this is your SSL connection factory because it provides SSL URL, whereas this one is a simple TCP. And mind you, I have only one server running, which is of course providing both the URL on TCP as well as SSL. And I can start another one for demo purpose. And I've created attached files and this is the SSL password for the private key of the EMS server. So it is now running on TCP 723 and 704, and that's what your connection factory here says it. Yeah.
So you say that if there are two EMS servers, the same program using the framework DLL can access both servers at the same time?
You have to see what kind of availability is provided by looking at this URL or this URL. So if you see a comma here, that means you can connect only to one server at a time. Okay. So suppose if 724 goes down, while you were connected to it will start to connect. It will try to connect to 724. Okay. Now it's not exactly fault tolerant. I mean, these two servers are running. Okay. These two servers are running, but they are not still having no knowledge of each other. So for that we have to create a FT connection factory, which comes later. But here it's simply, the comma here simply means that, a client, when it sees that URL from the connection factory, when it sees this comma, means if you are not able to connect to 7243, try to connect to 7244. Okay. So if you are connected to 7243 and 7243 goes down for some reason, you should try to go to 7244. I mean, they should be actually fault run clear, but in reality at the moment, just for demonstration purpose, I have not yet put them in fault run yet. They are independent of each other, they do not know about each other.
So we have this problem.
Of course. I mean, you should use this FT connection factory somewhere, or you should create your own. Okay, like this one. FT connection. For both that, you have to make entries into the configuration files, main configuration file also, so that they are aware of each other in the process. Yet at the moment they are not aware of each other. Okay.
Coming back to the config.
Which config? This one?
No, our program.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me that what are the specific parameters which we need to change in the ING environment?
Just a moment. Yeah, that's a good question. So this config is different from what you showed me, or which I think Swaraj sent to you. Okay. And now, anything related to connection will be in the connection strings element. Okay. So these are all our connection specific parameters. These are used at the connection level. Only this is at the application level, which is the consumer. Okay. Where you have a consumer name, queue name, number of sessions, and whatever you want. Okay. So at the moment we need only two things. Even your client ID is at the consumer level. Okay. And of course you will have to put encrypted values of username and password here. I think that should be also a part of a work in progress, I would say. But at the moment we are not doing any encryption, but that is very important too. Okay. And this is the, for example, this is the certificate store. And here in certificate incorporation, we also are doing that. We are not providing one or two certificates in the configuration, or simply giving the directory name, where it might have any number of certificates, and all those certificates, valid certificates will be imported into the cluster. Okay, and this is the for client authentication. At the moment, I don't know if we are using client authentication, but this is one of the certificates or files which contains all the information about the client's certificate, client's private key, even the root certificate also is contained in this. Okay. And that is for the client authentication. And I suppose, if you are not using client authentication, you should think of using it, because there might be some illegitimate clients also which can connect to the DNS servers and fetch messages off that. Okay. So, you got your answer, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So we were here in the code, and you saw that this is the message handler which ultimately gets will raise the event from the consumer, and it gets it here, and then simply inserts that message into the text box of the form 1, which is this form. This is the button and this is the thing. So I think we should be able to demonstrate it. Here we are, using designer to send the messages to the queue on which the consumers will fetch off the messages. And at the moment I am sending only one message at a time in a loop. I can give it to 15, 20, as many as I want, or let me send it at the moment. I think let me send 4 messages. Okay, and this is fire and forget. This is only sender. This is not a request. Okay. So and now the queue we will be looking at will be this one. So it has got 0 receivers and no consumers, and it's got 0 messages. So if I send 4 messages, it will show 4 here. They're all gone. Yeah, so the 4 messages have been in the queue, lying in the queue, this queue. Now we will start with the consumer app which was created. Let me ensure that I am in the right directory. So here's the build made, and let me get there. Not there already. This is your function which I'm looking for. Converting the DOS Windows directories into the Unix directory and then changing to that directory. Oh no, it's not the one. Yes. So it was created today till 12:32. Let me rebuild it again just for satisfaction of the viewers. And see the time should be 12:03, which is the same as this one. So this is the okay. Yeah, so I rebuilt it. Just simply rebuild the configuration because only the configuration was changed. But again, I have to see whether I have made any mistake in the configuration, which I probably have, I think. Yeah, so it has to be TCP because the connection factory is Kubernetes factory. I mean, I can use SSL also, but just for keeping the thing simple, I am using only the TCP protocol at the moment. To rebuild it again. See the modification time for 4, and this is both are changed. Only configuration change, sorry, in this bit. So that's all. What you have to say to yeah. Shipment ready, and at the moment there are 4 messages on the queue, and there is only 2 connections. One is by the picture designer, it is this one, and the other is by the this tool, tool, and this is C and this is Java, and there is only one consumer, which is the consumer of this administration tool. Now if but anyway, I've made some changes in the code, so you will not be able to see the consumers because I'm closing the consumers as and when they are done with their thread processing. So let me show you also here. Yeah, so this is closed as and when it is finished doing its work, so you will not be able to see the consumer anymore. And it's a good practice to close the consumer or receiver when you are done with your processing. So here, they are labeled with their current thread names. Okay, so it's basically the main thread name and then the thread ID that I was using. So main thread is your host name, your application name, your process ID 2920. So if you see here, it should be process ID as 2920. Okay. So now there are 4 messages. If I press a button here, it will create a new consumer, as you can see in the code. Yeah, so for the same queue on which the messages are lying, on which 4 messages are lying, and it's not going to be alive, it's going to die down. To create another consumer, I have to press the button again. So let's hope it works. We have 4 messages, keep in mind that. Yeah, so you've got the first message of message ID is 1. Okay. Now this is first one consumed, and you should use. Now first one consumed, now we are left around 3. Earlier it was 4. Now 1884.24 is the last few characters of this message ID. It should change. It's 25. Only 2 messages remaining. 26. 1 message remaining. 27. No message remaining. So as I keep pressing the button, I create a new consumer, a synchronous consumer, which fetches the messages of the EMS and sends it to the form through an event delegation model, and form text box is able to show that message. So this is what is the whole spirit or idea behind the form fetching. Okay, so
I have
yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Suppose we consume the message, and after that probably we want to do something ourselves. So where do we put that code?
Yeah. So that's the very, very basic elementary question, and that's the most important question as well. So as you can see, this is this is the message which you have to override. Okay. So this particular method will be receiving the messages according to what's designed in the DLL. So you have to, you are receiving message here. Now, as and when you receive the message here I am just simply sending it as in a form of event. Okay? But you can do whatever you want to do with it here. And mind it that this, you can have multiple instances of received and processed messages executing at the same time in different sets. Okay? So if you are making any change to a shared object, if you are writing to a shared object, you have to put a critical action here. You have to lock this code. But if you are not, you are writing to a different object, or you are reading something, or you are calling a function which will not write to a shared object, you may skip this. Okay? But since we are inserting in only one text box, even though in the code I am creating only one thread, okay, but still tomorrow I might be creating 2 or 3 threads or 4 threads. These all 4 threads would be executing this and trying to write to a single text box. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful in this. So here you can put your identity calls or whatever. Here you can pass it on like that, and something like this you can do, and whatever and if you get something in return, okay, and then you can use and if it's an RL call, then you can use the send reply like this. Message dot reply to queue, something like this. So it will go back to the requester. This return one will go back to the requester. Okay. So that's the sort of thing which you can do. Okay. But make sure that if you're writing a common shared object, you have to lock it up. So I think that pretty much covers our demonstration of form fetching. Any more questions? Okay, so this is a small PPT where we are receiving a message and sending it to an event that is receiving to the form. Of course, via main class. It has to go via main class, and it comes to the forms text box, and it gets displayed. Okay, so this is the release call, and this is the master. Okay, and of course, you are using EMS framework within the library. Of course, and then of course you use the library to create and destroy consumers, synchronous or asynchronous. Yeah?
Just a small question popped in my mind. Referring to your previous code, we can use that check for RR and FF which you have used over here.
Yeah, of course you can. You definitely can use it.
Reply to?
Yeah, definitely. If must reply to is there, that means there is an expectation of reply from the question. If reply is not there, that means only an FF. Okay. So these all were, simply an FF message. So you would see only the output. Okay. So it's only an FF. So here I have just coded it, not to bother about checking the because I'm sure that it will always be FF. But if it is RR, then I have to make a check here, and then I have to send something back on that message. That's a good question. Yeah?
I think that's all.
Yeah. So any questions? You can get back to me, and even probably Subhajit has also read quite a bit of code here, and he should also be able to help you. And another thing, as I think I want to repeat that thing once again, and this is the configuration which we are going to use, where the connection string will have the entries for the connection level parameters. These all are connection level parameters, and these are not going to go into here. These are app level, consumer level, or producer level parameters. Okay, as you can see with the name, app settings and connection strings. So these have to be segregated in this way. So in the other configuration which Squad has sent, so these all are there in this. So we would like to use this one. Or maybe later on you want to create your own configuration, that would be best, but then again probably you have to change your machine.config also sometimes, maybe to create your own custom configuration. So, and then probably you will have to create a code also to be able to extract configuration values from that customized configuration. So that's pretty much the movement, and there are a few other requirements which you must have already seen. And if you have any questions, get back to me or to Subhajit. That's me, Nandan, and that's Subhajit with me. And I think whoever watches this would have my email ID or Subhajit's email ID or even phone number. Get back. Let's hope this is all a success, and we get a good name out of it. And our testing, which is the most important thing of development, goes as expected. There are few things in line in my mind regarding testing also, and we have to graduate from unit testing to performance testing, because that's the testing that will count in the client's environment, in the client's mind too. Well, that doesn't stop anyone from writing the test cases, unit test cases, in terms of checking the DLL, whether it's able to create the connections and fetch the messages, create the consumers, fetch the messages, and all. But ultimately, it is the tuning parameters which we are providing through the DLL in form of configuration parameters that will be changed to reach an optimized value for given performance requirements. Okay. And of course, when you want to increase the threads, you would also at one particular point of time would want to increase the memory also. It's like, if you have 10 late machines in your room, and you are able to meet the demands of the orders, say for 100 jobs per day, but if your demand increases in the order to about 150 jobs per day, you might want to increase the number of late machines. But since a room only can have the space for 10 late machines, you cannot order a new lathe machine. So either you have to increase the space of the room somehow to make way to create space for 11th lathe machine. So the room space here means the memory, and the lathe machine here is the thread. Okay, so that's the idea behind these two great parameters, which are most important in any tube performance journey. Okay, so that's pretty much sums it up, and we should not go unidirectional in terms of thinking only in terms of threads. If there is less memory and there are more number of threads, then crashing can occur, and context will change very, very frequently. So context will crash from one thread to another and back to the previous thread and all, which will again be a big overhead. So you have to increase memory also if you reach a particular count of threads. Okay, so that's pretty much from my side at the moment, and we'll get back to you, or you can get back to me as and when you think you can. Thanks very much. Bye.